Hey everyone, it's Evan Kirstel, T9000 edition. Happy Halloween. Trust you are well. We have a really great guest and a really great conversation about spooky CX experiences in healthcare and AI. My favorite topic as a T9000. Roni, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here today on your show.
Is it weird talking to a robot or is it all good?
No, I'm kind of used to it.
Okay. Well, I won't creep you out for too long. Nice to see everyone. So we have an interesting topic. Before we jump into that, maybe introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you? And tell us a little bit about your background and role at Five9.
Sure, thank you. So I'm Ronnie James Meyer, the Senior Healthcare Marketing Manager for Five9. Been with the company not quite 2 years. Have always been an IT sales person. I was in Five9 as well as in my previous life. Always been in IT sales. Always been in this space. And now and in healthcare. So I was able, as Five9 is verticalizing some of the messaging that we have. This position came up, and I'm happy to be helping out here in this role.
Awesome. So, I mean, healthcare is a topic near
Yes.
and dear to all of us personally and our families. Tell us about your journey and interest in the healthcare, health IT industry.
Sure. So in my previous life in IT sales, my background was mostly in federal, so it was a lot of DoD
Mhm.
work, supported the Army and the National Guard and all that, especially during the Iraq War effort. And then when the
Wow.
war effort died down, ended, I moved into healthcare. So I supported the VA, military health, and Indian health for a number of years in another job, and then moved into commercial healthcare, which would be including children's hospitals and stuff. Did interactive patient care. So I walked the floors, talked to a lot of medical professionals in the field, and really got some. I won't say I touched anything, I'm not supposed to. I'm not a medical professional, but I talked to them and I really got a front lines view of what they did every day and how they all connected.
Wow, that's a behind the scenes industry insider perspective. We'd love to hear more. By the way, we have special crows for Halloween edition as background. So no, I love that. You're in Texas, so the
I
crows
am in
really
Texas, yes.
are pretty cheeky. They love to get involved in your business. Uh, so tell me about your experience over the pandemic, both what you personally have seen and talking to providers. What you're seeing now. Are we fully emerged? Are we recovering in terms of our healthcare system, at least from an IT and standpoint? What do you see on the ground?
I'm absolutely seeing the recovery. However, we have burnout, major burnout,
Mhm.
right? So when the pandemic started, everybody went home and telehealth took off because that was really the only way we could connect to patients who needed it because we weren't allowed to walk into buildings, right? And that was probably one of the better things I think that happened in the pandemic was the growth of telehealth, because it bypassed some of the challenges that telehealth has here in the private sector as opposed to in the VA. And now, as people are coming back into offices and buildings and hospitals, you know, that's a great thing because we are humans. We like the personal touch, but we've got a lot of burnout. We were losing nurses, we're losing doctors, professionals, and providers, and that's a real problem that I don't see stopping. I mean, or ending anytime soon. We got to figure out a way to keep employees happy, professionals, providers, nurses, and those so important clinicians to provide care that we need.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen obviously the burnout factor. I have so much empathy for the individuals who are still trying to recover from burnout. It hasn't gotten much better for them. Of course, massive pressure on the systems, the healthcare
Yes.
systems, from the small players to the giant ones. Workforce shortages, financial impacts. Um, so I wouldn't say tech is here to the rescue, but tech certainly has helped and will continue to help.
Yeah.
What are you seeing on the tech adoption side and new technology on the horizon, or being implemented that can alleviate some of the pressure?
Yeah. I mean, we always going to need the human touch. That's never going to go away. So we're never going to take that away, but we can help make their lives easier. So Five9 with our intelligent virtual agent, some of the things we're trying to do is maybe shorten the phone call and some of the redundant task of the patient authentication. We all have to do it, right? We all have to make sure Ronnie's on the end of that call. Sorry, there's a airplane probably flying over. But we have to. Does a live agent have to do that? It's kind of like the password reset. Does that have to be done by a human? All those redundant tasks. If we can remove some of those redundant tasks, and we can a lot with omni-channel, with sending texts, with chat, with voice, and take care of some of those redundant tasks so that the clinician is really doing what they're supposed to do. They call it top of license. They're operating at top of license. They're not doing mundane work.
Yeah. And so we talk about self-service in healthcare, which has been around for a long time, mainly anti-self-service, bad voicemail messages and terrible IVRs and fax machines. So I guess, how can we reinvent the self-service experience, introduce, some advanced technologies and modalities, omni-channel and AI to kind of make this experience better? I would love to see that.
Well, I think it starts with communications. I tell people, I said, people are okay with waiting if they're told they're going to wait and told how long they're going to wait. If we can map the communication with an IVA or even just proper communication channels with texting or whatever, saying we're running late, don't come in yet, we're running behind schedule, or, for whatever reason, we have to move your appointment. I mean, people, that's one example, but communication. A lot of in healthcare, they're disparate communication platforms. The right hand doesn't necessarily know what the left hand's doing. And CCaaS is the glue. It's going to be the glue where it's going to tie in with integrations into these disparate communications platforms, all for the purpose of, I think, trying to alleviate that problem, Evan, as far as just setting expectations properly and just communicating. If you communicate, I think you'll solve a lot of those problems. People get anxious, angry, and depressed and mad and, other things when they don't know what's going on. And so, just kind of helping stem that with communications, I think will go a long way.
Yeah, it's funny how we talk about AI and automation, but what we want is to communicate with people more efficiently and effective and take the burden of bad communication systems off the table. Because, when you talk to a human being in our healthcare system, they're often wonderful. But they're so constrained and bound by these terrible, antiquated systems around them. It must make their life kind of a misery when you look at some of the, EHR systems and some of the legacy phone systems and voice messaging systems they have to deal with. So you've been in IT for a long time. When you talk to IT leaders in healthcare, what do they want to see in either AI or CCaaS or other advanced communication systems?
Well, they want to see it integrate with their electronic health record because they've spent an inordinate amount of dollars doing that. And
only billions, or
only billions. You're nicer than I was. I was gonna be like nice and go a lot of money. They want fewer clicks. If they can have fewer screens open and fewer clicks to get there from the employee. This is the side you don't see from the patient side, right? This is just making an employee's life better. Fewer clicks, easier integrations, a single pane to get into these different systems and reduce the technical debt and the IT footprint. They probably have all the tools they need and they're all sitting there in a little silo. So how do we collapse that into a more streamlined approach to all that technology, debt and dollars?
Yeah, technical debt, huge challenge in healthcare, probably more than any other industry. Maybe government, based on your previous background. So let's talk about cloud as a platform, because people want ROI, they want to reduce costs, they want easy to update and deploy, they want it to be accessible through any kind of device or API. Isn't that what CCaaS kind of delivers? Isn't that the dream? Or maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, it's not utopia only because I think you have
to. It's not okay. This is over then.
Yeah. You're right. It is. It does solve a lot of problems. I mean, prior to the pandemic, I think Five9 was working on selling CCaaS, Cloud Contact Center, to and convincing people it was safe and secure, right? Then the pandemic hits, and then they're like, yeah, I'll take two, right? They were like, it was all of a sudden, it was in the cloud, it was okay. So that those conversations still are happening because of healthcare is legacy, but, and moving to the cloud, but it will solve a lot of those problems over time. But you have to kind of map it to where their, what their current contracts are that are in place, and make sure that it's got a real solid process to start real small and then layer on top. And that's less scary, because I think that's, where a lot of people, the concern is, am I going to lose my job if this doesn't work? Right. So used to be in the days you never got fired for for using IBM. Now you never get fired for Cisco. And you're just, you're working through those, those adaptations of, okay, how do we move to the next gen contact center? And it's not going to be on-prem, but how do you get them there comfortably?
Yeah. No, I love that point. I was just talking to my doctor today, and I was trying to get a couple referrals, and they didn't go through to a specialist, and they just disappeared. And the answer was, oh, we changed computer systems. I love that. Or the computers are slow today. That's my other favorite
Yes.
problem. So so many issues to work through. I'm curious, who are your typical clients at Five9 in healthcare? Is it the healthcare system? Providers? Is it the billing companies? Or there's so many players in this ecosystem.
Yeah, so we have several, but most of them are actually our biggest subvertical. We've divided it into four: providers, payers, your insurance, pharma, which can go into, you can drill that down into bio, life sciences, and all of that. But we just limit it to pharma and then there's the medical, what I call the medical ecosystem, right? Your supply chain and all of that. And actually, out of all of them, probably pharma is our biggest, with providers coming in. And yeah, there's a couple of key clients that have kind of helped jump that number. But we've got a very good cross pollination of all four in that area. So pharma today in the healthcare space, but really coming on strong with a lot of the other sides as well.
Oh, interesting. You actually have a interesting webinar I see here coming up on November 10th with McKesson, a company that has a great reputation in this space. I think they're looking at using AI for prescription refills, so improving call resolution rates and using AI, to query, a Medicare IVR. Tell us more about that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So, and McKesson when I was talking to him, I didn't realize McKesson was also considered pharma, because I said, are you distributing drugs too? And I thought you delivered drugs to hospitals, right? They do a lot of things.
Right.
But I put them in the supply chain, category. And they're like, oh no, we deliver drugs too. The highly specialized drugs, right? The genomics drugs or cancer, right? And those types of drugs, he called them drug therapies. That's the term they use, right? So those are the parts where you could say they could be pharma, and they could be, and other stuff. But they're going to talk about how they are prescription refill. How can we automate some of that? How can we make it easier to authenticate the caller? And then, they probably don't have their prescription pill bottle with the number. So, those things. So how do you make it easier for them to find out if they qualify for a refill, and then refill it, and then where it's stored, and then an ETA on when it'll be ready, right? All of those things to your point, the communication stream. And same with Medicare and Medicaid eligibility. They're working on, basically doing that kind of authentication to help the users out and not get to a human until some of that, those checkboxes have been done that a virtual agent can do, which really helps their average hold time and lowers it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love focus on the patient experience and helping patients at the end of the day through technology. What are some other sort of interesting AI use cases you can talk about top of mind that your customers are using?
Sure. Some of the basic one is just call steering, right? the old days, press 1 for sales, press 2 for billing, right? So it could be, I want to talk to a certain clinician. So which, it asks the IVA or virtual agent for the professional that you need to see. So call steering, basic, but very, very informative or needed. The authentication part, verifying Ronnie's really who she is on the end of the line, how many 2-3 pieces of ID to do that. Appointment scheduling, pharmacy refill. Here's another one that's popular is transportation scheduling. There's a lot, with patients, how do they get there? And then FAQs. Where am I going when I get there? What are the hours? Where do I park? Those types of things. Even down to, a patient coming in, those reminder calls you get, right? Don't drink water after midnight. Reminder, wear loose clothing, or, those things. A lot of those things can be generally handled by a virtual agent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so many great use cases to talk about. I can't wait to go to the webinar and check it out, some of the details. Well, thanks so much for joining me here. Are you ready for Halloween? You ready for the hordes of trick-or-treaters?
Yes, I'm hoping we have a good following. Otherwise, I eat all the candy, which, doesn't hurt my feelings because I like candy. I always buy what I want to get, anyway.
This is a healthcare-focused webcast. There will be no candy eaten by any of it. No, just kidding.
Don't waste any candy. But the last couple of years we had, smaller turnouts, right? Because of COVID. So I'm kind of hoping the kids all come out and start, turning into a traditional Halloween.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. I don't know. What's the trick or treat experience like in Texas? Do you guys give out full size candy maybe versus, the little ones in Massachusetts that we give out?
No, we do
hamburgers or steaks? Okay.
Yeah, lots of trunk or treats. So, right. I'm sure you have those as well.
Okay.
But the kids, we have a pretty good neighborhood, and if they all come out, I should be out of candy. That's the hope. That
is so fun. A number of interesting events coming up. I know you guys are everywhere in the industry. I know you'll be at the Zoom Topia event, Zoom's big event. You're a key partner there, which has interesting ramifications around telehealth and teleconsulting, teletraining, and all that good stuff in healthcare. Anything else you're excited about?
Nope, just super excited to be here. Super excited for the McKesson webinar.
All right. Well, we'll see you there. And at Health. HLTH.
Yeah, we'll be at Health in Vegas. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, enjoy Vegas, and let us know. We'll do maybe a webinar afterwards, see some of the new learnings from Health in Vegas. But thanks so much for joining me. It's been really fun. And enjoy the rest of Halloween, everyone.
You too. Thank you, Evan.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.